Lawmakers in Michigan passed an $82 billion state budget late last month. That's the first in decades, drafted by a Democrat majority legislature.
Today, we are taking a closer look at the infrastructure portion of the budget. Our Elle Myers joins us from the Capitol in Lansing to break down how advocates are feeling about this next fiscal year.
Late last month, the Michigan legislature passed a nearly $82 billion state budget. And although it's a massive historic sum for our state, and a lot of that money is going towards infrastructure, one advocate tells me he would have liked to have seen more sustainable and long-term funding to improve our state.
We want to be cognizant and thankful for all the money that's going towards infrastructure. That we don't want to complain, right? Because it is quite a sum of money. But we also want to acknowledge that there are funding gaps still there.
The infrastructure budget for the next fiscal year includes $416 million to improve roads and other public infrastructure, $80 million to enhance 20 bridges across the state, and $50 million for rail, marine, and local transit infrastructure, among a long list of others.
But ultimately, with gas tax revenues eventually going to probably fall more with the electrification of vehicles, where are we going to get that sustainable funding? Obviously, all very hard questions for policymakers.
Over the course of my reporting, one infrastructure advocate noted that this year's budget focuses a little more on individual projects as opposed to wide-scale improvements, a fact Zach Colladin, Michigan's chief infrastructure officer, addressed when we talked.
There are a lot of projects that folks have wanted to see for a long time. And we haven't had a budget in many years that has focused on solving those local problems that people keep, bringing up over and over. Our legislature, very attentive to what they were hearing in their communities and focused on delivering those projects and making sure they get across the finish line.
He theorized that inflation is partly to blame for local projects needing more money to be completed.
Inflation in infrastructure projects across the state has caused some projects to fall short of their targets, and they may need a little bit of extra cash to help get them built. But that doesn't mean they're bad projects.
Ewert tells me to continue Michigan's trend of improving infrastructure in a state that has to battle the weather each winter, there needs to be consistent and long-term funding each year.
Right now, if it's year to year, we can't really look at, well, what's it going to look like in 5 years? And obviously, roads continue to deteriorate. Law of thermodynamics, things digress into chaos. And so the roads, as we repair them, they immediately start to deteriorate slowly. So giving the different departments their ability to plan out that far can help them further their gains on the deterioration.
Now, one way you might see this infrastructure budget in action on the streets of Detroit is a new industrialized pedestrian street in the heart of Greektown, along with all those orange barrels we see across the state. For now, reporting in Lansing, I'm Elle Myers, CBS News Detroit.